Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Howard Greenberg here with my main man, Stephen Big Beat, or the CEO and founder of Quasar Markets. Big Beat, how are we doing today?
I'm good, Hondo. Look, it was a good weekend over the weekend. Looks like that Republicans were screaming at each other, as well as Israel and Iran and geopolitics, and it's just going to get crazy right in the next couple of weeks, right? I mean, it's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
I was just going over the schedule with you of what has happened and what's going on here. As you know, we had the Japan election yesterday. We'll talk more about that for sure with Stephen Flanagan at 10 o'clock. Our FX currency guy, UK budget on tap, US PCE, Bank of Japan decision, US non farm payroll, US election, and the Federal Reserve decision all in the next 10 to 11 days. Man, talk about
Yeah, I mean,
overload.
you would think that the VIX would be flying high with all the volatility, and not. Look, I don't like this market. I've made it very clear. I think that the a rug pull is coming. I don't know when. I feel like it's that Price is Right, the guy on the side of the mountain, right? That you keep pushing the button, and it keeps slowly going up. But the sell off is going to be nasty, and I still think that. I think it's going to be really rough, and I think it's going to be one of those where the funds just pull a lot of funds out of the market. It's hard to find alpha right now. I mean, when we're having to go and look for stocks out there that are moving, that's crazy. It shouldn't be that way, right? It should be either an overall market, and yet you're seeing the Dow up 175, futures here, and S&P up another 33 today. I don't really understand that, to be honest with you. It's and when I don't understand something, something is usually wrong, right? I try to understand what the market's trying to say, and I don't get it. And when I can't understand it myself, I'm sitting outside. I'm gonna tell you right now, Howard. If someone out there right now says that they understand this market, they get it. They understand where we're doing. They're lying to you, because quite frankly, I've never seen this market before. You look into an election that's this close. You look into a Fed that is lowering rates. They don't know what to do right now. 50-25, where they
Well,
were
I'd have to
raising
say
rates.
50 looks, I mean, at least from the Fed Watch, 50 is sort of off the books at this point.
Agreed.
It's
Yeah.
only, it's 25 at a 90% rate right now. So that's what we're
But
looking
they're the
at
ones.
there.
But you say the Fed tool, but they're not the ones really actually making the decision. The Fed could say, I don't care what that Fed tool says. The
Oh,
Fed
yeah,
tool
for
makes
sure.
right. They can say, you know what, we're still saying 50 basis points. Wow, because you're already seeing it in Europe. I mean, Europe is falling apart right in front of our face, and that's why you're seeing the dollar 104.20 right here. You're seeing. We talked about this last week. The German manufacturing is really, really hurting right now, and Europe is really in a mess right now. So to me, this market does not seem to be on par. I saw Liz Ann Saunders this morning posting on Twitter that the price to earnings is outrageous. I don't remember the exact word she put, but she says way out of whack. And when I'm not the only one saying this. We're talking about true. All the talking heads around the world are saying the same thing. Yet the market continues to push higher. There's a disconnect here, and I don't like disconnects. We saw this in 2007 and 2008 during the dot-com bubble. It kept on going and going and going, and then of course it failed. And when it failed, people got ruined, not just hurt, ruined. And
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't.
we've seen Goldman Sachs come out and say that they expect about, a 2 year or 3 year malaise when it comes to growth for stocks because they are overvalued right now. It's
Yeah.
not, they weren't so much warning of a huge drop, but more so that, it's not a place to have a lot of cash right now and that you're probably not going to see those returns. Steve, I think what part of the problem or I don't know if it's a problem or part of it is, there's so many more day traders than there used to be. They don't care. In other words, they're just trading the market, in front of them or whatever else, and it's for a short-term win or loss. I don't think I hear as many people investing as I
Right.
used
And you
to. I
see
see more
Robinhood.
people. Yeah,
You
I
saw
see.
Robinhood today, the contracts for on the presidency, right? Who's going to win the president? I mean, we're talking about just companies just taking it on the chin and saying, you know what, I'll just put my own contracts up. I'll create my own ETFs. I'll create whatever I want to create, and it's coming out of thin air. I mean, there's at some point the house of cards are going to come down, and I think it's going to be a time when people aren't already prepared for it, right? As our good friend Scott Bauer says, you buy insurance when you can, not when you have to, right?
That's
And
right.
so right now you're seeing the markets. When I see this kind of layback and everybody's like relaxing, oh, everything's okay, things aren't okay, and it will fall apart. And when it does, it's very bad and very nasty, and it's swift. And when you see that kind of pull out of the markets, it's really bad. So look, I'm sticking with my philosophy here. My thesis here is the market. A rug pull is coming. So
Yeah, I don't argue with you, and you've definitely been saying that for a few weeks here and now. Some things I'm going to be taking a look at this week that might be a little bit different. NVS is doing earnings tomorrow. Why does that matter? That's part of the granola, right, Steve? That's one of the biggest companies in Europe. So we're trying to get a bit of a bellwether on what's going on in Europe. We will get the UK budget and see what's going on there. But I think, secondly, taking a look at that would be pretty important. Pfizer, of course, want to see more about what they have to say with the activists this week. McDonald's, I mean, everybody's got earnings, but some of the ones that aren't the huge ones that I'm looking at, McDonald's, I want to see how the reaction is here to, the E. coli breakout there. Cisco, SYY, is a different one to keep an eye on. They provide food for a huge swath of the restaurant industry, hotel industry. So, as Steve likes to say, if you are trying to get a check on, the channel check on companies, you're looking at Cisco for food is always a great way to do it. And then we've got the big boys are all on track. We've got Microsoft, we've got Google, we've got Apple, we've got Snap, you name it. They're all reporting this week. Anything you're looking at there, Steve, in general?
yeah, I hate to say it, but it's Boeing once again. With Boeing, with now they're saying 90 million common shares adding to the system here. It's around $5 billion. And yet we're only down 1.3% here in the early market here, pre-market. Look, to me, gosh, at some point Boeing has to be. You would think that Boeing would be, I don't know, $100, and yet it's still holding up, right? Even with issuing more shares. 90 million shares right now. The average volume per day on Boeing is only 9.3 million shares, right? Market cap right now is right around $95 billion. You've just added another $5 billion, so that's roughly 4%, 4.5% to the company. You would think the company's on 4.5%. This is easy math, right? And
Right.
why is it 1.3%? And to me, look, Boeing is starting to become very, 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 very juicy to me, and I like that.
Yeah, to me, I'd say it's almost my reason why is it not going it down because we've already had all the weak hands leave. So
Right?
all you've got left in Boeing is institutional, is long-term conviction, people that are exactly like you're saying, that are saying, "Hey, I'm holding this in a long, my vision or my period time frame is going to be large enough that I'm going to recover." It's not a bad thing. I'm just pointing out I think that's where we're at. This reminds me of Bitcoin when it hit 16,000 after 70. You just say, you'd say what, because it would have some bad news would come that normally would have thrown it off another 10% and would only move one, and people would ask me, well, what's going on? What's going on is the only people left are the rock solid hands, so to speak, or people that can't sell.
I mean, you think
ETFs.
about it,
The SPY has to keep it, right. It's part of the S&P. It's part of
they're
the
on
Dow.
strike. They're on strike.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
adding
with you.
adding shares. They're not even producing right now,
Oh,
and
I'm with you. As I've said, you've said a
and yet the
couple of
stock's
times that
holding up.
now the time, I'm still targeting, still going back to that 145 area. Like I said, I've had an order in at that point for a little while because I think it does hit it again. So,
Yeah, and
that's
McDonald's here up 2%. You saw McDonald's with their issue over the last couple of weeks with
yeah.
the people getting sick there. I understand now that they're doing this new meal deal, I guess, at McDonald's
Adult
with
meal deals. Yeah, I was telling you
adult
about
meal.
that. I am very familiar with the world of McDonald's with a 4-year-old. Not that, it's funny. We don't go often. In fact, I can't tell you the last time we've gone. It was whenever they kicked off one of these, one of the Croc promo they did. Um, Steve, I've got one for you that I've put together. I told you I was going to do some
Okay.
some screeners here during the weekend, and I got one pulling up. Is all of the stuff towards that is just above 200-day MA. And it was interesting if this will ever pull up here. Um, what the companies on there, Microsoft, McDonald's, a lot of really big companies that came up here. Here you go: Microsoft, Alphabet, Visa, Procter and Gamble, Johnson and Johnson, PepsiCo. So I didn't tell you I was going to do this to you, but I'm going to put you on the spot. What should I sort of be looking at? What other things? So now I targeted my number one thesis is I want stuff that I think is going to bounce off the 200-day MA. What has looked successful on the 200-day MA in the past? As I start to fill in other columns here to sort of search at next, what are some suggestions you could give me maybe there that you would look at for next?
Yeah,
Or is
I
it
would
a
I would
company
start with
that,
a very easy one there. Price to earnings. Obviously, we
okay?
know that PE ratio
I'm going to write
on
these down because TradingView doesn't like to work with me on the air when I'm doing this. It always pauses. So I'm going to, and I also, if you can see, this is updating every 10 seconds, which doesn't
right.
help. I should
So I
probably take
think
that
price to
down.
earnings obviously is a big one, right? We need to
Yeah.
look at what the average is. And right now I'll pull that up. I'm happy to do that. Price to Schiller Schiller PE. So right now the Schiller PE multiple right now is sitting at 36.99. So anything less than 37 right now, that's the average. So, which I think is outrageously high. The median there is 16, right? So if you find anything between 25 and 16, you're getting something that's priced under the market. So that's good. I also think price to sales is also another one that I think you should look at too,
Okay.
meaning that the price of the stock compared to the sales. So if you find things that are
So
cheap,
this is
like
actually
for
working for me
instance,
quickly. So I'm pulling these on as you're talking to me just so we can say. So EPS I just threw in.
yeah.
Okay. And then,
And I'm gonna tell you right now, Howard, there is one stock that I am looking at this morning, and I think it's pretty cheap right now. Is the ETF of UCO. UCO is the Ultra Bloomberg Crude Oil one right now,
okay.
and I'll tell you right now, I think oil took a real bath
Beaten over
this
the
morning.
weekend. I asked you about that, as you know, coming in. To me, would have thought oil would have gone up with more unrest in the Middle East and things like that. Is it because they didn't attack? No, I think I pulled up the wrong thing.
Yeah, but when you get down to $67 a barrel here, you're getting close to
Break
those
even,
numbers.
right? That's what you've told me in the past.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I'm buying some shares down here at some point, probably closer to the open, because I think $67 a barrel is pretty cheap. So, um, and it will get back up anytime. And we know that the Biden administration said that anytime under 68, they will be buying for the SPR. So I like that. All right, getting back
You said
to
ECO, Steve. I'm not seeing that.
UCO.
UCO. I apologize. That's why I'm
And
not.
so I think anything under $68 a barrel is just cheap right now. um, Especially considering we're going into this election. Now I know that there'll be some people thinking that it's drill baby drill if Trump wins, but it still costs to drill, so
Oh
there's
yeah.
still cost to the barrel. So I don't see, and of course exploration for oil is not cheap either, so it's very expensive.
Listen.
But we don't really need exploration of oil. We have plenty of oil wells. Most people don't know that we're now an exporter of oil.
Yep.
And whenever we find oil in this country, we put a nice big bow on it and put a number on it. And so we have plenty of oil. Anybody says we don't have enough oil in this country, they don't really know. The key to oil in this country is not
Processing.
correct. It is the actual process of oil. Yeah.
We don't
All
have
right,
enough of
yeah, let's
those.
get back to it. But I'm telling you right now, one of the things that I want to see in these stocks that you're looking at when you're screening them out, I think you also need to look at volume.
Yeah.
Volume divided by the average volume. So if you start to see companies where the volume is above the average of the day, that means that
Good.
people are taking a
Yep.
closer look at it and actually investing in it. So I think volume is important if you're looking at it from a
Awesome.
smaller perspective of that aspect. But quite frankly, look, these are easy things to look at. And you can also look at ownership, right? So what the percentage of
Insiders.
ownership of an institution basis of retail. Yeah, I'm liking this oil play here a lot. And let's get back to it, huh? How
Yeah,
about
I will tell you, Microsoft, who has earnings this week, is one that I've been looking at for a while here. That's been playing around by that 200-day MA that I think's a little undervalued when it comes into the big tech area. Um, so we'll see here. We'll see. Bitcoin, back about
very
69,000,
right
right around
now?
what I said. Still struggling though. That 69's been pretty tough. There's a pretty good sell wall there, so we'll see if we can get over that today here. The ETF inflows on a Monday morning, where we've seen some pretty good jumps in the past, can give us a little move above that. I'll tell you, I was looking at Mara with Mr. Bauer this morning because they're interested in making a play there. Um, and it's looking pretty juicy to maybe make a run back up towards that 19 spot that it hits resistance about 1920 there. So I'm definitely interested there. I have pointed out that 1920 so far hasn't been able to break through it. It's been pretty rough resistance here a bunch of times. But I do think you could see a nice play up to that today. So a pretty good move if you can make a move from, 1771 towards that 1920. It will do it quick. This is one I'm going to look at right after open, see what options look like, especially. And I'll let you know what I do there. But I'm looking definitely at Mara. I think Bitcoin's going to see a pretty good day today. It's going to take it with it. It already took Master, MSTR, MicroStrategy. So we looked at that one first. And it's already up 4.5%. So it was a little bit frothy already there. Any other plays you're looking at besides UCO this morning, Scott?
Well, yeah,
Scott?
over the weekend, I bought Dogecoin.
I know
You
you did
saw
say
Musk
that.
going
I think I
crazy.
have that in this. I have that in this
Yeah,
set right
and
here.
I've already moved my profit off of Doge and I moved it back into Bitcoin. I do that every once in a while. I saw an opportunity, made about 7% on Doge, and moved it all into Bitcoin. I like to stack those Sats.
Absolutely.
Uh, I think when you're looking at the 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 election, I guess in a lot of ways, DJT is up another what is it? Up another 5% today.
Yeah, 5%. Yeah, it's you said it. Election has been pretty explosive over the weekend.
Eight
I
percent
chose
here
to
in the
watch
early.
sports instead. Up 7% now this morning, almost at 39. I have to laugh some of the left wing people that I am friends with were making fun of the right wing people in some of the channels I'm in, and that bought it at 50. They might actually get to even here pretty soon. I wouldn't have called for that, but yeah, it's definitely moving here. 38.95. I did call it the other day. You took a quick scalp on it. I told you it was going to go further. It definitely did.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I think that looking at the election, you, the stars are aligning for both sides, right? I mean, you saw where Beyonce was hanging out with Kamala Harris. You saw where Elon Musk was hanging out with Trump. You're
Yeah,
seeing
they're
both
definitely
sides
pulling
of
out
that.
all the sides, and it's funny because, like I said, I live in battleground states, so it is just brutal. There's just
I'm so sorry to
commercial.
hear.
I can't watch 5 minutes. I'm running out of rooms right now as soon as it does. I was just about to say I didn't catch it in time here for us. DJT actually looks at a pretty good spot for a scalp up here when it just broke VWAP. You can see how it moved up nicely here on the minute chart. And it trades like a meme coin. This is one that I've done pretty well scalping because it does trade very much like crypto or a meme coin here. So 42.20. 42.20. Wow.
Doge is now up 2.6% here
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
session. Wow. I thought that was a nice little buy down there over the
Well, if
weekend.
Elon's over the news, all he's got to do is mention a dog or something, and then there you go. There's your pump, and
He did,
that's what it
right? I mean,
was. Yeah,
they
I mean
asked him,
that's
what should you be buying for the election? And he said Dogecoin. And when he did that, boom.
yeah.
And I
If you
had a
know
feeling he
he's
was
going to
going to
be
do
on
that.
the news a lot, like we do, that's a pretty smart play, in my opinion.
Now 3%. I mean, is he going to be the guy who is, I don't know, cutting all the costs of the government? I just don't know. I don't know. This market just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't, and I don't like
Well, what I'm
us.
going to point out too, Steve, is I think we're going to see things like I get your downward bias towards stuff, but I think this is a week where you might want to be long a few things because of the fact that I think there's going to be a lot of good earnings still. You got, like I
Oh, let me
said, You know,
Don't get me wrong,
Microsoft's
Howard.
isn't Microsoft and Google and some of these they're channel checks for Nvidia. So that's why I've got
Yeah,
Nvidia on the
yeah,
board, one of your favorites. All one of those have to do is mention that they made a big order of Blackwells or that they're looking for Blackwell to do anything. And what are we going to see?
right. But don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm still in my mutual funds. I'm still in my long term stuff. I'll
Yeah,
never get rid of it. That's just something I always keep. But when it comes to trading, I'm literally cash. I have
yeah.
nothing out there. So, I'm not trading at all. Maybe even more to the downside. The more this goes up, the more I want to be on the short side of this. And I haven't done that yet. I have not gone short yet. So, I just don't know, and I don't like not knowing. It just sucks when you don't know.
Yeah,
So
and I would say that I'm not you, but my reasoning for not going short yet is it could easily go just 10, we're looking for a 10-20% downswing. It might go up 10 before it takes that 20% downturn.
yeah,
So, until I see that momentum swing change, at least personally, that's how I'm looking at it. I would say I'm more short-term biased, and I do think we're going to see earnings like last week. Someone's going to pop us off, because I don't see any of the companies really coming up that are going to give us that surprise huge miss. But it could, obviously could be wrong. This is when, as we say, when everybody's betting on red, get on black real quick because the house
I
doesn't
will
lose
say
very
some cool
often.
stuff, Howard. The new Quasar Markets website is up
Yeah.
and running.
Let me. I'm scared to do this on day one, but I'm going to give it a run. I'm going to pull up our new website, bring it over here to give everyone a look. They usually tell people in television and stuff to never do this live on the air, but we're going to give it a spot here. We're not scared. Plus, hey, it makes for good television if you fire me right in the air. So here we go. The new Quasar Markets platform's up. Uh, Looks awesome. I love the live ticker right there. Before you even click in, you can see what's going on in the markets here. I will point out for everybody, create a new account. No credit card required. We are not trying to bait and switch you here. Steve has made it very clear. You can get on the platform. There is a lot of functionality that comes for free. We think you're going to want to upgrade to our premium because that's where all, the really special stuff under the hood comes out. But we give you a lot just to come to the platform and use
Yep.
charting. You've got trading view, which I have up is what I use is, I feel the best charting out there. You have our AI co-pilot, which is, giving you the best information that you can get about stocks and just anything you want to get information on financially there. And what you have the advantage with Quasar Markets AI is that questions being asked by other Quasar members are right there in front of you.
Yep.
So, what I find is a lot of times I get my ideas from other people, and I think that that's great. Steve, what would you like to point out here? Anything that you wanted to hit
I mean,
on?
I think one of the cool things is all the testimonials at the bottom of the page. You'll see lots of people talking about how great the site is. There it is. Yeah, and we have users on the platform that are loving what we've built, and it's really exciting. We have a quality team here, and I love that too. And I love the fact that we are growing as fast as we possibly can. I think one of the things that we've talked about overall is the speed of which we are adding databases and multimedia. Look at that multimedia and press coverages,
Yeah.
and it's just a growing here. We're very excited here.
Yeah, couldn't be more excited. We have so much on tap for you. Wait till we roll out the educational platform in the next month or so. That's going to be something for all you traders out there. You'll be able to access, a swath of, vetted educators, some of the best in the business, people like Prosper Trading, Blue Collar Investor, Bullish Bears, and just so many others out there that we're looking partnering with CMT. They are, the best in technical analysis that there is. Okay, we're about 5 minutes away here, Steve. Things to keep an eye on today. Obviously, we have earnings coming up. No one too exciting today, I think, for me. Encompass Health, I want to see, again, we've seen healthcare move up and down. They're one of the beaten up sectors that might be looking, for a play to the upside later on here. If Encompass can have some good earnings, turn that around. After hours, I know we've got Ford, Waste management, I think that's a channel check for what's just going on in industries, right? They do most of the trash for the country. So I'm interested there. Any of the earnings you're looking at? There wasn't a whole bunch that caught my eye today.
I'm just not excited about the earnings. I don't think it's about earnings. I think it's about the election. I think we're literally 8 days away, right? So 9 days away from the election. So to me, that's more important than anything here. As people are getting anxious, and I just don't see a lot of trading right now in the election. The election is the tightest I've seen in any election. I still have made my prognostication of who's going to be the president of the United States, and I'm sticking with that. But I don't really care either way, to be honest with you. I'm more interested in what the not earnings, but what the guidance of these companies are saying. And the
Absolutely.
companies, they're nervous. I've never seen companies this nervous. Here's a good example of it. Apple this morning, Indonesia is now cutting out iPhones out of the whole area. Indonesia, because they didn't sell enough iPhones, right? They didn't put enough investment into the country. So all of a sudden, they're not selling iPhones into Indonesia. Well, that's a whole area. That tells me that sales in Apple iPhones aren't going to be up to speed. I know that all the new stuff coming out today, right? The new Mini. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the new iMac, the iMac Mini. I'm thinking that's kind of cool. But you know what? And why am I saying Apple? And why am I being so hard on Apple? Because Apple is the whole damn market. I mean, just Friday, I guess, Nvidia took over Apple, so it's protecting Apple's position in the markets. But is Nvidia really worth $3 trillion? Is Apple really worth $3 trillion? No, I don't think so. And I think what you're seeing now is I think you're seeing, you're seeing price to earnings at 37, 38, way out of whack. Um, when you see valuations of these companies, they're just too much, and it's going to come down. And hedge funds and funds are going to be like laughing all the way to the bank as they start taking profits, and they're going to watch the market go back down and then buy back in later down the road. That's what they do, especially when you come into November, December, when they need to start taking some profit for the year. So I'm not liking this market. Don't like it.
Yeah, definitely. I get that feeling. I get that feeling for sure. One other I forgot today. On Semiconductor is having earnings today, so they do a lot of the powers and sensors for the auto industry. So it is a little bit of a channel check in the auto industry coming out. Steve, I noticed that all your favorite companies, the cruise lines, are all up today. NCLH up 3.71%, CCL up 3.35. RCL up 2.56. I know they've got earnings this week, but nothing was out yet.
Very
Um,
simple. Oil prices down, which makes it cheaper for them to put, in their case, diesel. And very simple. We're coming into the holidays where they're really upping the cost of cruises, and people are doing cruises like left and right.
I was going to
Florida.
ask if you thought it was going to follow, because that is one other question I was going to say or comment, was that we've seen the great airlines earnings already hit the markets. So I think this might be a little bit of a play where they've pointed out that they are seeing, they were able to raise their earnings per seat. That I think maybe cruise lines are going to say, hey, not only are we selling more tickets, but we're no longer giving them to Big Beat at $5 a day, and now he's got to pay for his mai tais.
Well, I get free drinks anyway, considering. But you know what? Look, I think we talked about this the other day. I mean, I talked about this on the air too. If you really want to know what's going on in the world, just look at Dow theory, right? Dow theory is telling you everything you need to know, and that's FDX, all right? It's FDX, it's UPS. They're still moving things around the world. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think this market. I think this market is out of whack. And when things are out of whack and I don't understand them, something's usually wrong. So,
Okay.
all right, we're about 1 minute away from the open here. As you know, I am long UCO here. So let's see what.
Tick in general staying pretty positive here through the pre-market hours, so we see that. And again, QQQ up about 0.6%, SPY up 6% of a 10% also.
All right, we are open.
Here we go. See, tick starting off red here. There goes a big green candle though. Now up about 330. So tick moving to the green to start off with here. Let's see what starts moving.
I am
Apple up 1%.
so I am long now, 24.64 now on UCO. But this one here, I'm watching oil in general, so not making a move here. I am still long CPRI, which is Capri Holdings. I'm still long. It's up about 0.74% here, so keep my eye there. But
MSTR trying to get to that 250 mark I talked about, 245.26 here. I'd be taking some profits at that 250 level.
and I might continue to purchase UCO here. Oh, there we go, 21.52 now on CPRI. Had a feeling that that one was going to come back, so I'm not too worried about that one. Oil 60, WTI now 67.21 now a barrel. As Nasdaq starting to slip a bit, a little profit taking there.
See what we got.
Yeah, and I am going to buy another more. I'm going to buy some more UCO down here. I think that oil could just pop here out of nowhere, and I think I'm going to take that. Yeah, 21. Looks like 21.57. I did a market order on that because there's a lot there. So 21.59 and 21.64. So what are we at? 24.59 plus 24.60.
Bitcoin trying to break back above 69 here.
So I'm in right around 24.61 ish, somewhere around there.
Nice.
And we're at 24.63 right now. I think oil is going to probably get back. WTI will probably get back to $69 a barrel, 68.50, somewhere around there. I'll take that profit and run.
Absolutely.
We're already seeing that now. It looks like it's moving now. 21.64. There you go.
Tick going a little bit negative here. Seen a little slip from SPY and QQQ since open.
Okay, I might take some. I might take some profit on the UCO here. 24.67 already.
Nice.
As oil is trying to push up a little bit. Yeah.
Seeing almost 68 on the WTI, so that is pushing up. It was down a little bit further. 67.81 now.
There you go. Bitcoin back above 69,000 handle again.
Still at 69.5 though. But if it keeps eating it up here.
$21.51 now on Capri Holdings, so up 1.15% there. 24.68. Yeah, 24.69 about to hit there
Wow,
on.
there you go.
See?
Absolutely. See here if any of the runners are moving. Not seeing anything so exciting so far on that. Wow, NCLH now 4.32, Steve. 4.32, your NCLH.
Yeah, I mean, when you have cheap oil, it makes the prices a lot easier, right?
CCL 5.6. Wow, they're really moving. And on the other side, like you're saying, Fang down about 3.53. That's Diamondback Energy. Devon Energy down about 2.07. MRO Marathon down about 2.04. Occidental down almost 2% there.
I have an order now to sell UCO at 24.75 here.
Nice.
Now there's 24.71, 72,
Just trying to go for you.
73, 74, 75. And I might actually be out there, Howard. If it ticks over, then we'll get it right. And it's been executed 24/7. That's it. We did it again right here.
Nice job, Steve.
Watching oil 24.76. Yeah, now I'm definitely out. So, that's just the point, right? When you see things that are out of whack, right? Like oil was way out of whack. It told you what's about. I mean, and that's what I like doing. I like buying things that are out of whack. 24.77 now on UCO. I thought it was very, very obvious. Oil being 24.77 now.
Nice.
To me, it was obvious, right? And you see that, and you take advantage of it. That's why I don't want to take advantage of stocks that are getting smacked. I mean, 24.79 now. Wow, I mean, it might have got a little too early, but yeah, 61 to 74. Yeah,
Nice move.
it's not always about stocks. So it's always about other things too. Futures.
Absolutely.
And yeah. All right. And Capri CPRI 2150 now up 1.11%. So at some point you might have to take a little bit of profit there. Nvidia slipping. Save SAVE, Spirit Airlines there now up 4%. McDonald's up 2.25%. Albemarle, we talk about lithium. We've been talking about LIT, right? Lithium stocks up 3.3% again today. Lithium is hot right now.
Lithium's one that's interesting because they claim that there's in Utah, they just found the largest lithium deposit in the world. Let's see if that happens or not. I keep watching Bitcoin here to see if we're going to hold above 69. 68,900 seems to be about where we keep maxing out here.
Well,
Let's see what we can
we're
get here.
seeing silver pushing back up 33.78 now an ounce. Look, if we can see silver back above 34, that helps with Bitcoin. It's been pretty much traveling together.
Spine
Yeah,
QQQ still slipping a little bit here. They're both still slipping a little bit.
UCO right back down 24.70.
That's why you got to be quick and nimble there.
Tesla is down about 0.5% here. Starbucks up 1.2%. These are stocks that got completely crushed after earnings, and people are buying in the dips. I don't always agree with buying dips, but in this case, they've been pretty good lately. Boeing 152.22 now. Look, it's only down 1.8%, considering that this one should be really getting
huge,
smacked.
yeah. Like you
Right.
said, that's. I mean, it's good and bad, right? It's good in the fact that it's showing some resiliency. It bad because it should be down that 4% to match what it's going to cost.
Wow, if we see oil slipping again here, I might do it again.
Seen a halt here. First halt, a couple halts. HCTI. Let's see if we have a runner here. Healthcare Triangle. It should be on the way up. Yeah, it's on the way up. Stops. $1.30. What do we got for volume today? 37 million in volume, normally 2.87, so definitely in play here. This one's kind of interesting because it's right at the top of the VWAP range that works sort of like a Bollinger. B4 is given 2 out of 3 buy signals. This will be interesting coming off halt. You got about another minute and a half or two before it comes off a halt. You got some pretty solid room up to about 144 here anyways.
What's interesting here is the advanced decline line right now is positive by 1,471 stocks. That's pretty positive to me.
This is definitely an interesting one to keep an eye on here. Definitely want to keep an eye on. AMIX also. AMIX.
if I can sneak out a few more pennies out of CPRI, I might be taking my profit here. But there you go, 21.59 there. Just a little bit more there, and I think I might be taking my profit there too as well.
Nice. I think I like that HCTI better than this one. AMIX pulled back a little bit. You're going to bounce off this 1806 area here. This could be a good play at 1784 if it drops down to 1784. Let's see what happens there. I'm going to save that to the watch list. Let's go on this one. And then the other one, HCTI.
Seeing UCO now 24.75 as WTI now, ticking up a little bit more here. I think I'm going to take some profit here on this CPRI. I like it here. Up 1.27. Not the amount of money that I thought I would
There
get.
it goes, off halt. 135, 132. Was a halt at 130. I told you 150 would be the goal here. 134. Getting some sell-off, battling here, seeing the volume, nice volume coming in. This should take off. There it goes, 140, 143, 149. If you listen to 150, there's our target. Just hit it. Boom. It's halted again. 149. Ooh, that would be a tough one. It halted 1 penny below what you would have when I said to take.
Look at that. Yeah, how about that?
Wow, that was a quick one. So now I'm going to put a stop loss in here. Got in at 130. Probably put it in at 135 here, just to be safe. AMIX should have come off a halt also here. What's it doing? It halted. Got another halt. LSB, if you want to take a look, Steve. LSB, another one off halt here. Lakeshore Biopharma. Oof, never mind. That's halted on the downside and not in a spot.
UCO 24.79 now this morning. So I had a feeling that oil was going to bounce off that bottom. Okay, CPRI, after I've taken the profit there, slipping a little bit. I'm happy about that, Howard. And yeah.
Nice move. And we're locked in on a profit on HCTI also, so those are going to definitely be two wins because I put my stop loss.
There you go, 69.2 now on Bitcoin.
Shh. We don't want to say anything. I
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
$1.49 here. All I want is one more penny, and I'll take my profit on that. That would be a 20-cent move on a $1.30 stock. Although I might go a little. Let's see here. I might go a little further with that one. If it breaks this 150, gotta get to this hourly chart.
Unbelievable. Yeah, UCO should be pushing even higher there. 24.79. It's right there on that edge. Could go 20. Yeah, there goes CPRI dropping there now. I had a feeling that was where it was, where the sellers were.
Trade.
Yeah. Now we got to go look at that save. Spirit Airlines now back to $3 a share now, back to $7 here. MCD McDonald's now at 2.12%.
I'll tell you what, this got room to $1.70. So
Boeing is really holding.
I'm going to change mine to an OCO here, and I'm going in with a half exit at 150 and a half at 170.
Few minutes ago, 10-year now hitting 4.3, now back to 4.242. Why the bond market's going up and the stocks are going up? That's
Told
just
you
not.
Someone's wrong, right? 1.77. So Steve, I'm going to lock in 135 as my stop loss there on that. And I'm putting a half exit at $1.50, half exit at $1.77 to the upside. Let's see what happens here. I will say with these pumpers, you've got to put that stuff in on these halts, or you could end up on the wrong side real quick. So let's see what happens. That's got a little bit longer here, 9:42. So we've still got 3 more minutes there.
Gold 27.43 now an ounce, 27.42.98, 27.42.07 now an ounce. Gold's really traveling here. As we talked about this morning, silver obviously. I think $34 an ounce is high there, but I think we're going to $50 an ounce. I really do.
Steve, I don't know if you saw, I don't even know who it was. It was on CNBC this morning talking a little bit of Bitcoin and why they think, if you saw, how many stocks does, Steve, do you know how many stocks ADD consists of?
No, I do not.
That was asked by one of our viewers. ADD. I wonder if I can get that information right here
Ooh,
from.
CPRI getting slaughtered here now. 2109 now.
Ron,
Now
I'll find
down.
that answer out for you today. I got it on my notes here for you, buddy. I'll get that back to you.
2107 now. CPRI got banged for 2150. I got out there and down she went. 2111 now. CrowdStrike down about almost 1% here. Nvidia is flat on the day, so that puts more
CrowdStrike,
money in
just
the
so you
bank.
know, that was news today again about the lawsuit. Delta is going forward with their lawsuit to regain some of the money that they feel that they are owed due to CrowdStrike's issues. Now, a few months ago.
Humana HUM. We've been talking about the insurers for health. Humana now up 1.12% here. 69,200 now on Bitcoin. We could see 70,000 today.
Well, I do want to point this out because it was like I said, when things go on halt, make sure you put in your stop losses. This was the one we were just looking at, that AMIX. Look how far it dropped down from 21 to 17 on that, coming off of that halt. So that's why you got to watch it. Now I love this on a move back up.
Dogecoin now about 3% on the session here. Here we go. UCO 2481 now. That was a nice little pickup down there in the bottom. I wish I had kept it now, but took some money and ran. I understand that. I do that all the time, as you all know, but it was a nice little win here this morning. Tick indicator now up 600 here, so we could see a little bit more of a push here in the markets.
Boom, Steve, my HCTI hit my 150 marks, now at 166, stopped at 166. Another halt there. So that's 130 to 150. I took that profit. We're at 166 here. I still have $1.77. I'm going to move my stop loss to $1.50 here.
So if you don't understand what Howard is doing, is he is moving his bottom, his limit to get out, up. That way he protects his profit. That's what we always want to do here. We want to make sure when you're in the profit to understand how to continue to keep that profit. He's moving his stop limit now a little bit up so that if it falls on him, that he'll still be in the profit no matter what, and he doesn't have to get scared in his trade.
Absolutely.
That's part of
And
trading
as you
here.
can see, it moves that fast that you have to when you're playing that. It's one thing I want to point out. Steve's not a huge fan of these pumpers. That's why he doesn't join me in a lot of these. But you have to have a methodology for playing them. I'm pretty successful at them because I limit my losses. It's all about maintaining a short loss stop on these, because when they go wrong, they can go wrong 70-80% in a matter of minutes. And what I'm looking at here now, 178, I might play around a little bit, leave that 150 in, and I'm looking at maybe $1.96 here to move up the last part of my take profit at. This has been a big win either way. I'd be really happy to get a full out at that 150. That was my first target. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to move that up. Let's see if we can hit 196 on that.
2488 now on UCO. That's the highs of the day now on the oil ETF. That was look at that. That was an easy one this morning. I thought, misplaced
Yeah, you
numbers.
nailed it. And that's one where I just get mad at myself because I asked you the question before we opened, why is oil where it is? And you said it shouldn't be. And I said, oh, okay. And then I didn't do anything about it. But here we go. A firm up another 5%, man. I feel like we say that every 5 or 6 days lately, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's buy now, pay later. It's the world that we live in, and a
Well, I
firm
guess what it
doesn't.
is that I only notice it when it's going up because what I'm now noticing that it's in an
Yeah, it's been
upward
beaten up quite a
trend,
bit.
but it's
Yeah.
been volatile in that upward trend. So that's be a fun one to play with. I'm going to put a little note next to here. That looks like one that could be
PPRI now near the lows of the day here, 2107 here. Wow.
QQQ continuing to slip here, only up a quarter point now. So we're seeing that, that's with the tick being up 478. So
I've
Bitcoin
been
holding
saying it,
69K so far, holding 69K.
and I posted it how many times? I think we get back to 460 on the QQQs.
Steve, I have a question for you. Would you be a buyer of silver if it breaks that 35 you talked about?
Well, most definitely. I think
Okay,
there's
I
nothing
guess
but
again I'm
nothing
trying
but
to
air all the
trying to
way
get
up.
myself ready for what comes next, and you are my guy when it comes to metals, and that's great to know. So because
But
that's that key.
if you're in it, you definitely have to look at it from the perspective of trailing stops too, as well, like you did
Yep.
here with the stocks. Yeah.
Haven't come off the halt here yet. 147, so we still got about a minute and a half, so I won't make us sit on that and wait. No other stops so far.
We saw there it is, 69,300 all the way down to 69,000 here. It's big sellers in Bitcoin here. Looks like
Yeah,
there's.
like I said, there's a sell wall at that area, and
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. Again, if we bring up the daily chart, I was explaining, we're talking with Mr. Bauer here this morning about some stuff. Um, that it did that really nice. If you look at the daily chart, it did that nice retrace here, and it was almost the perfect retrace right to that 0.382 level that I had mentioned. It went a little below that, but that's okay. Regained it, never got a close below that, and now we're back up here, and we're going to challenge. We got to break 69,505 or so, and hold. That's what it is. Remember, with Bitcoin, it's about it will give you wicks. You don't want to trade a wick. You want to trade an actual move breakout. The breakout will happen after a hold at 69.5, a night above that. Should be getting close to getting off of that halt here on my HCTI. There it goes, 171. Let's see, 171. It got as high. Didn't get to my spot. Got to 191. Let's try in here. 170, 165. Moving the wrong way. I might get stopped out. I'm okay with that. Like I said, 160. In fact, it looks like it got stopped again. Damn, that's quick. I'm going to leave everything where I had it. Actually,
If
I'm
your
not.
thesis hasn't changed, what you don't make that
Yeah,
move, right?
nothing changed. The only thing I'm looking at is that 2 might have been a little aggressive I was looking at here. $1.90 might I went $1.96. It hit $1.90. I like it. I'm not changing it. Everything's still in play. It's just annoying
You're
that it's
right.
gonna and be another 5 minute stop before I see what happens, but I'm not gonna complain. Again, we've been in since $1.30, since the stop at $1.30.
QQQ now almost flat on the day here, only up 0.19%. So it used to be buy the dip, now it's sell the rip. I think that's where
That's a
we're at
great
right
call there, Steve. That is the soundbite for today. We are a firm believer in either, buy the dip and sell the rip, or sometimes you sell the rip and you wait to buy back on that dip. And that's what we're in right now. I'm a firm believer in that.
Next area energy, NEE, now at 2%. That's one I've been talking about since in the mid 50s. It's now $83 a share.
And boom,
NEE,
MSTR hit 250.90
man,
here. So it hit the target we gave there. Again, MSTR, we called that 199. I called that out for a run to 200. Not a bad
let's talk
little
about
run.
stock running right now is DJT, Donald J. Trump, Trump Media Technology, now up 16.5%.
Crazy, 45.30. Again, those friends of mine that have been in this since you bought it at 50 the first time, will you please look to get some profit out of this when it hits to those ranges? Do you not think it goes straight to 100? Please take some profit. You know exactly who I'm talking to. WTI 68094.
Disney is at back to $96 a share here. I think we get back over 100 soon. That's one of those stocks that has been beaten up. That anything under 100, as you know, I've been saying it's a buy, and I still feel that way.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering the way you were wording it. It sounded like you would say get out of it now, and I was going to say I thought that
Oh
normally
no, we
tends
still
to be
have room
your
to run.
spot.
68.8 now on Bitcoin. It's trying to get back to that 200 EMA. So, I think we bounce off this. Maybe go back, try the 69,000 handle again. I think people want 70,000. Look, I've been saying this for a while. We're going to 100,000. How we get there, when we get there, I don't know. I'm not gonna time the market. As you know, I don't time the market. I make
Well,
that
I don't
very
want to
clear.
give away my big talk for later this week when I do my crypto corner, but I don't know if you saw what came out of BRICS. The Saudi government has made a very big investment or a, a announcement of big investment into the BRICS nations where they are going to build data centers, AI centers, and specifically Bitcoin mining facilities brought on because of Argentina and some of these other nations that have just joined BRICS that have government subsidized or government Bitcoin mining. Watch what happens here. This is, the BRICS now. I have a lot of questions for Mr. Flanagan today because BRICS, after finishing their meeting, there was some interesting notes that I saw and read and data. And do you know that the BRICS now has a larger GDP than the G7?
Oh wow. Hmm. It's just a matter of time, right? Where countries get together to be bigger than other countries. I think that's what we've
Yeah, so I
seen
want
in
to see what
history, right?
his geopolitical questions are. We might have to send a follow-up message to Mr. Lit, see if he can't give us some focus on that too.
24.93 now on UCO. If you bought that with me this morning, you're a happy camper.
I'm still waiting for my HCTI to come off halt here. Still has, no, should be coming off pretty soon here. I'm going to stay glued to this one right this second.
And I know that we buy and sell the stock itself, and I do that a lot. I also play the options too. I've been playing options for a very long time in futures, 33 years. But I think right now I'm just not comfortable with in the options market with zero DTEs. Just it's too much pressure in the volume side of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I play, but again, mostly covered calls, covered puts, things that are hedged already for me. Um, yeah, it's tough to do as much straight.
52.62. We're seeing the VIX here dropping a bit here, a little bit on the S&P VIX. Yeah, we're seeing the S&P VIX dropping, so we might see another pump here in the markets here.
Okay, we're reopened an HCTI to drop to 154, 153. Looks like I will probably, 156. Let's go. Give me a run here.
55.3 million shares have traded hands here on an average volume of 3 million. So you've got to.
I don't know why I'm watching it on the daily chart instead of here. There it goes. I'm out. 150. That's still a good trade. 20 cents on a $1.30 stock here in about 15, 20 minutes. I will take
And
that.
you've locked in your profit in
Yeah.
without hurting your thesis. And if it falls,
Yeah, and
which
now it's
is
143.
143,
It's going down. Listen, this is one that if it hits that VWAP and bounces back up, I'd be right back in it.
right?
It's
But
got
there's just not
momentum
enough
today.
volume in the last few minutes, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah, we got a bearish divergence as you can see here. Trying to move back up though, right at that level. It's a fun one to watch. Bitcoin now, 68,750.
24.95 now on UCO as oil continued to push higher here, 67.82 now a barrel. So it is 10 o'clock here coming into it. And Howard, I need to bounce, but
I know that you have a busy day with everything going on. Steve, thank you for joining us this morning. Another win for Steve. So back
two
at
in.
3-0 here now on the run back after his one miss in 36 before it. So good move there. I did hit mine for a nice little win too. So we had a good day there. Perfect timing. I see we have Mr. Flanagan, the man of all currencies, getting ready to come on in here. Give me 1 second to throw him on the screen. And of course, I did it wrong. And we got a lot to ask him this morning. We're going to start out right on the fact that Japan had its election, didn't go the way that the ruling party was hoping. There he is. Our main man, Stephen Flanagan. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Howard. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Steve and I both hit. Steve hit two winners today. I wasn't as good as him. I only hit one. So
Yeah, that was a great call in oil by Steve there. I love that.
yeah, he was all over that without a doubt. Without a doubt. So
Yeah,
I said to you early, man, is there a lot of stuff going on here right now, huh?
explosive, potentially an explosive weekend. Started with the Saturday news of Israel and Iran.
Yeah.
Um, let's hope that that has a period at the end of the sentence and that's it.
Yes.
You hit me, I hit you. Let's call it a truce now.
Right,
Because
exactly, and that's what we're hoping it is. The way oil's changing, though, going down today, is that maybe people aren't thinking that's the case?
no, oil going down is just the unwind of the trade. Israel's
Okay.
going to attack. They're going to hit the oil depots. That was what was leaked, right?
Yep.
And so the fact that it didn't happen, you forced out the market. We've talked about these trades where everybody gets one sided and the
Yep.
unwinds are vicious. And, Steve did a perfect mean reversion trade here, stepped right in. Hostilities are still out there. It's
Right.
just that the market didn't get the reaction on the upside because the oil facilities were left alone. So, yeah, that was one. And then followed up with Japan and the election results.
Yep.
That was a dramatic vote because let's just, for the viewers, in case we're not aware of the Japanese politics, this followed a political corruption scandal
Right.
in last year, which included a lot of the senior lawmakers within the Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP. LDP has been the governing party in Japan since 1955. So the voters were upset and they showed it. The LDP lost. This is the lower house. They lost their majority, but
Right.
there is no clear winner. So Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba came out today and said he is promising the people to restore political stability following this loss. So it was a big move. Dollar yen traded up almost to 154, a level that
Yep.
was, in Steve's language, that was a gimme to sell dollar yen. You know, it just was an overextension, the mean reversion trade. So
Yep.
I look for stability to come back in the yen market. But these two events uh, were a positive snowball across the globe coming into the New York market. Oil lower and the dollar yen higher. Yen typically, when dollar yen moves higher, it has traded very well with the NASDAQ going up as well.
Okay, well that's good to know. Keep that in mind moving forward. We've got the UK on track next, I believe. Is that correct?
That's correct. You have Wednesday, the UK budget to come out. Labour's manifesto when they got elected in a landslide was they weren't going to touch the income tax, national insurance, or the VAT for the working people. What everybody's watching, what taxes will get raised. Naturally, here's your first experiment coming out with the labor saying capital gains and inheritance taxes are going up.
Uh-oh.
But one of the key things that, you know, you just got to push aside all the smoke and mirrors because take it at its simple tax increase, it affects everybody,
Yeah.
and you can see it already because the Labor Department has confirmed that the the 2 pound bus fare cap is going to be replaced with a 3 pound cap increase. So,
So they're tipping their hand a little bit there, right?
right, and who takes the buses, right?
Yeah.
So, you can't avoid if they say tax increase, it hits everybody,
Yeah.
just like a tax decrease, because it affects the overall price. So that's what we'll watch for Wednesday's UK budget release. Sterling right now, if you get back below the 129 level, I would be targeting a 126.85, a very sharp move. The problem is that all of these currency markets, the dollar is at a very extended point right now where it is quite on a technical analysis is very overbought.
Right.
But we always emphasize that technical analysis is a charting room, and
Yeah.
every boat at the bottom of the ocean has a charting room.
I don't know if I like that as a guy who's more. Well, I follow both sides. I am more of a fundamental trader by like philosophy. Peter Lynch is sort of my, the guy that I read the most when I was first starting to get into trading, and I believe in a lot of his mantras there.
Right.
But I have definitely gotten swayed to the TA side also. I think that you got to have a balance of it all, I guess would be the answer, right? T,
Precisely.
a,
Just
a TA can't tell you when a missile is going to get launched from
that's
Tel Aviv to Iran, so that
I,
becomes part of it. You need to have some fundamentals in there also. Um,
I like to say just another tool in the toolbox of trading.
Absolutely, that's the key when it comes to that for sure. Couple of things. Market, it seems like it wants to move up today. That doesn't seem smart. I just, it just seems strange to me that every analyst that people usually listen to, the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Bill Ackermans, these guys are getting on. One out, David Solomon, Jamie Dimon. They're all getting on and saying stocks are overpriced right now. They're not a good value. But we seem to see people still pushing these prices up.
I've highlighted the world today is a computerized generated marketplace. Almost
That's
every transaction has some sort of algorithm built into it. And many of these trillion-dollar funds that have exposure throughout the world are managed by models. Models are computer models that are derived. So they are plugged in to source pricing,
right.
and they can react on every single piece of news. The news is weighted, whether it's a strong piece of news, Israel attacks Iran, or is it a weak piece where, perhaps an economic release, durable goods were up 1%.
Right.
But each one of them has a weighting. So when people are saying, oh, the human is saying this looks overextended and you shouldn't really be buying here, you have a US election in 8 days, you should not be buying here because we have experience from 2016 and 2020 that the markets move sharply. But the computers are constantly following the market. So if the market ticks up, the weighting suddenly has to buy more, and the
Right.
computer sends in another buy order for another 2 shares, and then it's up 2 point, I have to buy 6 shares now. And so it becomes a self-feeding type of mechanism,
Until
unless you hit the button on the computer that says pause.
right.
These are in perpetual motion.
So the question is though, is it one of those that, they can run out of money before the market runs out of irrationality?
So we're back to one of my favorite quotes from Mr. Nevsky, who closed his hedge fund when he said that markets can remain irrational longer than a person with rational experience can stay in the market.
Right.
I paraphrase that, but it has always been on my trading desk.
Yeah.
And that is exactly it. And that was 2016 when he said that.
Yeah.
So you can just imagine the evolution of the computer market traded models today. They're just going to react. And that highlights why, when you look at a 1 minute bar chart after an economic release, look at the sharpness of the moves.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. You know,
anyway,
it goes to also what Steve and I were talking about earlier, is he's not, and neither am I, really shorting the market yet, because there could be 10% more upside before we see a 20% pullback. And that's where I'm sort of stuck at. And I think part of that being these quant trading, mechanisms that are still showing everything biased to the upside. Until they see that break, they will continue to buy, like you're saying, that maybe it isn't, so much human buying as it is computer buying, and these funds, they don't care. They just, it follows until it doesn't.
yeah, then they're managing a portfolio with weighting. So as the weightings move one way or another, they have to execute.
Yeah,
And that presently is clearly the higher it goes, the more they need to buy. I mean, that's just a basic understanding of a computer driven marketplace.
sure.
Um, but there's too much news ahead of us. And I think the sensible people that you referred to that have market experience for many years are saying one of these ingredients comes out in a negative fashion. UK budget, for example. What about Wednesday? You have Eurozone GDP. They're
Yeah.
expecting that to be plus zero point 0.2. At the same time, the US GDP is coming out expected to be 3%.
Cent,
At
right.
some point, this disparity in not only the growth rates, but also the interest rates, the US looks like it may hold now. So now you're stuck at 5% as Europe is quickly moving into the, maybe 3 or under 3% level. Thursday, Bank of Japan expected
Yeah.
to be unchanged. CPI in Eurozone
But
coming
Japan's
out.
got to be a wild card now, right? Because they really felt that they were going to get this, mandate from the people, that the change that they made to the new leader last year, after corruption and his commitments. But we've seen him waver on a lot of the things that he's looked at already. So, that. And then I wonder also, when you say that, I guess the other part as to why I think that there might still be this upside that I'm worried about before downside is, like you said, it's worse off a lot of other places. So if I'm a European hedge fund and I got to get alpha, it's probably in the U.S. market, more likely to come from a U.S. market with a 3% GDP than it is from my own market. That's why I have Nova Nordis reports this week on Wednesday also, or tomorrow, excuse me, tomorrow, and I'll be looking because we saw what ASM, what happened there. So do we see that another one of those here, because that's one of the granola.
Bingo. You just nailed the whole scenario right there. We look at it from a US point of view, but really you need to poke your head up above the trees and look out to the horizon. The UK got some potential serious issues.
Right.
The Eurozone, no growth at all. So, and that's the de facto play has been the dollar.
Yeah.
And yes, you're right. It could keep going here and you could hit an overextended period. I think the one common denominator in all the markets this week is whatever goes up will come back down. Whatever
Right.
goes down will come back up. And you may end the week unchanged. On Friday, you are
That's
going to be saying to yourself, oh my goodness, the election is on Tuesday. What am I doing in such a long position based on a historical view of an election day?
right. I think you just nailed it too. Is that, it's. I think we're going to see a lot of volatility this week. I think the smart player is let the first few minutes of the market play out, and then look for these mean reversions and be quick and nimble. Again, both Steve and I were in and out in a matter of minutes of our trades today. That's sort of the play. I'm not holding much overnight. I don't suggest holding much overnight, because anything, like you said, and there's so much outside of the US that's going to happen. In other words, if you're not watching and you don't really pay attention that the UK happens Wednesday, well, it really probably happens Tuesday night. So by the time you wake up Wednesday, it's already
That's right.
happened. So,
And
be
I'll
aware of
give you
these things.
I'll give you a really good catalyst for this week. Friday morning, 8:30, you're going to have payrolls.
Yeah,
Now,
non-farm.
is the payrolls going to have a big revision from the previous colossal number to the upside
Right.
with all the government hiring that was a seasonally adjusted number?
Right.
Are you going to see a reversal of that Friday morning, which could suddenly paint an entirely new picture
And
coming into
that's
Friday
definitely
trading.
in the road map here because we've seen in general earnings reports haven't talked about hirings.
That's right.
And even the ones that did seasonal hirings are a big part. The Walmarts, the Amazons that already did report or have already given their estimates have given them at either flat to slightly down from last year. I haven't seen many give an up signal, but we do have Amazon this week, so we'll see that. We have a few of the other major retailers that might give us a better spectrum there. A couple for you to keep an eye on that I'm looking at. SYY Cisco has earnings this week. Cisco provides a huge amount of the restaurant hotel industry with their food. They're the largest food provider by far, so I'll be watching that one. Like I said, Novartis I think is a big one to keep an eye on. McDonald's, I want to see what they have to say after the E. coli breakout there. They could be one that could be fun to get a play on there based after what they have to say. So, interestingly, I don't know if you noticed a lot of the cruise ships up tremendously today. Steve's favorite venue there. He's a big cruise guy. We're all up
Yeah.
tremendously before earnings. So I also think there's some, the people are rolling dices out there a little bit here.
Well, there's a lot of people, like you've mentioned, that have all talked about the market valuations right now. And, in a highly speculative market, you begin to see a lot of things begin to move on the peripheral sides, which is reflective of a speculative type market. I do not think that we are in any sort of bubble here. And that's just my judgment looking at the currency levels. I still think that the dollar index above 104, it's stabilizing, taking a lot of the overboughtness that we've seen since 100. But if you don't get below a 103.50, 80, which is the support zone,
Right?
I'm looking for that to test 105 mid levels up into the 106 level.
Wow.
At that point in time, I would say the dollar index is telling me that now we have a little bit of a overbought or bubble type thing in play here. But I think there's too many things in a very near term horizon that are going to dictate price action, such as the U.S. election, payrolls, the inflation reports that are due out this week, the GDP reports that are due out this week. So, as you said, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, don't get caught on the candlestick was a favorite saying that we always had in the dealing room.
I love it. I love it. I think that should be our end of today. On that note, there, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you Wednesday. We'll be able to find out. We'll know at that point what's happening over in the UK, and we'll maybe get a better feel for it. I'm with you. I think we see a lot of volatility this week, but I think at the end of the week you might find out exactly where we started today. So that's my note I have for us to take a look at on Friday.
That's right. Good. Have a great day and see you Wednesday.